Hello folks, welcome back to the channel. So today I wanted to do a follow-up video in regard to the passing of my boxer that I talked about in my last video. It's been close to a month, actually it's been a little bit over, and we are still so sad about his passing and his condition that I can't even tell you. Like, it's just so heartbreaking. My fiance cries every night. I do occasionally. And it's just, I mean, it almost seems like worse than a loss of a family member or a human. Like, it's just unreal. We love that dog so much. But I wanted to do a follow-up because, and I've only got about 20 minutes to do this, so I might have to do this in different segments, but we decided something was put in our hearts for both myself and my fiance to look at the idea of adopting or going the dog shelter route for our next dog. And we were still beside ourselves. We have another dog that was beside himself, probably even more so than we were. We probably could have waited to get another dog, but he was just so distraught that we didn't want him to basically get lonely and to kind of just wither away, if you will. So we decided to go the pet adoption route, or actually get a look at a dog from a shelter. And how this all came about is so supernatural that I had to do this video, because when you tell people what happened, I think people that believe in this kind of thing, supernatural, reincarnation, all of that, can kind of get it or see that, wow, that is pretty crazy. But I think majority of people, they won't get it, or they will just say it's coincidence or whatever. So to first start this off, me and my fiance talked about, looking at getting a dog from a shelter to provide him a good life, to save them from being, euthanized, whatever. And I've personally never done that. His family has done that many times. I've always had great dogs from it, but I have never done that. And so I was still kind of worried, like, oh my gosh, what are you going to get? Are you going to get somebody else's problems? Whatever. But we also know that we didn't want like a puppy, we didn't want to go through the whole housebreaking thing, all of that kind of thing. So we looked at a shelter that is near our home. And some of these shelters, or maybe a lot of them, are kind of all affiliated in some way. Like, one shelter will bring their dogs to, like, let's say a Petco or a PetSmart or some adoption event that goes on a weekend and whatever. And they will go to certain locations. Then they will affiliate with other shelter that goes to other locations. And they all just kind of, intermingle, if you will. And if you go out to their website, whatever adoption organization that's in your area, and you find a dog, they may or may not be at one of these events. And so you most likely have to go to that location to check the dog out, which there's a lot of people that do that. There's a lot of people that go there on the weekends and check out the puppies and whatnot. So we found a few dogs that we liked, and they were with a different outfit that were gonna go to this other location that was close. That was, I would say, a good 50 miles from where we lived. But it was the dog that we were, interested in looking at. So we had this whole thing planned out that we were going to get up and go on the weekend and whatever. Well, come to find out that we get in our truck to go, and my fiance's truck, like, won't start. And we don't know what's going on. We really couldn't do much. We have another car that like has high miles on it, and so we didn't know if we really wanted to drive that car that far, especially if we were going to get a dog, and we didn't want to chance driving this truck in case it wouldn't start while we were out. So we decided to go to our local shelter, if you will. And we had seen this dog that was very cool, and we wanted to go check him out, and his name was Buster. And what we were going to do is, I think we saw another one at this other shelter that was going to be in this other town. And we were going to go there first, check it out, and then possibly come back this way and then go to our shelter and, see what that was all about. So the crux of the story is that we couldn't go to that further adoption program that was going on because of this truck issue and car issue we were having. So we ended up staying closer to home and went to the shelter that was near our home. Well, this dog that we had seen was literally put there the day before. Like, his picture and information was just put there. Like, he might have been on like some sort of like hold, or they call it something. I can't remember what it was. But basically, he was put there. He became eligible to be adopted like the Thursday or Friday before we went out there. And we go out there and we walk through, and there are some cute dogs there. Like, it's really heartbreaking because there are like full-blooded dogs there. Like, there was a Rottweiler there. There were a litter of puppies there. The cutest freaking dogs. Like, it was crazy. Like, it's like, I don't remember dog shelters being like this. But I'm sure with the economy and inflation, people just can't take care of, a litter of puppies that come around, or even something comes up in their life and they have to change jobs, whatever. So we go there, and Buster's there. And he's sitting in his cage and yelping like all the other dogs are. And the first time we look at him, we fell in love. We fell in love with him when we first saw him in the picture that came available when he was ready to be, adopted, if you will. And it was like, oh my God, he is so cute. And I will attach a picture at the end of this video of what our new little guy looks like. So we go there, and we're almost both brought to tears. So the gal takes him out for us, and we go into like this outdoor area, and he is just jumping all over us. He's in good spirits. I think they say he's like 12 or 13 months old, and we're like, oh, that's perfect, because, and they say that he's doing good with housebreaking and all that. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is great, So we interact with him and everything's cool and whatever. Well, we decide that we want him. And we say, well, can we go back home and get our other dog and bring him here so that, to see if they get along with him and whatever. So we go back home and we're talking about it all the way, and it's like, oh my gosh, this is so weird. Like, is this dog meant to be with us? Like, this is weird. Like, we couldn't go to the other place. We're forced to go here, nowhere else. And it comes in our heart and spirit that we want this dog. So we go home and we get our other dog and we bring him there, and they bring Buster out again, and they're now in between the cages. Buster is in the facility still. but outside, and there's a fence, and then our dog is like, up at the gate and whatever, and they're sniffing each other and, whining at each other, but Buster's still kind of doing his own thing. Like, he's like, whatever, blah, blah. So we go back into the place, and, whatever you could tell at that point, it's like, it seems like they get along. They're not snarling and snapping at each other, And so we get back to the desk, and we said, yeah, we want to adopt him. So we go through all of the paperwork to do that. They tell us he is 13 months old, 12 or 13 months old. He hasn't been neutered yet. So they would have to do that before we, take him, which is good. And there's like I don't even know what it is, like maybe a $400 adoption fee, and it covers all these different things. He was, up to date on the shots pretty much, had been through a deworming, whatever. And so we leave and we go home, and we're like, for some reason, we're like just brought to tears. Like, we go out to lunch, and I'm sitting there eating, and I just like have this overwhelming feeling that this is supposed to be. Like, we were really guilty about, getting a dog so soon after the passing of Riz, and something just came in my heart that was like, no, this is what you're supposed to do. Like, this is what you're supposed to do. Like, Riz is okay with this. Like, it's almost like Riz was behind all of this. And this is where it starts to get supernatural. Like, people would not believe what you're saying. Like, they would think that you are just either crazy, or you're just, oh, that's so sweet, that's kind of a nice thing to think, after your dog passes away, blah, blah, blah. But I truly feel that this is something supernatural. Okay. How much more time do I have? So we get up to the counter, and we start talking about adopting him and whatever, and that this is like Saturday, so he's gonna be neutered on Monday, and then shortly after that you can pick him up. Like, they don't even really think that he can, he doesn't have to stay there like the full day. Like, the neutering was going to take place in the morning, and then that afternoon you could take him. You had to watch out for the stitches, make sure he wasn't licking at his stitches, all those kind of things. So we get up to the counter, and, we're like, can you tell us, like, anything about the dog, blah, blah, blah. We feel, okay, so they're like, well, we feel he's kind of a, Staffordshire Terrier. They call them Staffies, mixed with a pit bull. There could be some, bulldog in him, whatever. And so we're like, okay. And then they say he's a res dog. And I'm like, what's that? They're like, oh, he came from an Indian reservation. And I was like, oh, wow. And here in Minnesota, we do have a lot of Indian reservations. They're, pretty much all over. Obviously, our casinos are on Indian reservations. And so I'm like, oh, okay. And something in me is like, Indians and American Indians, they have like very spiritual beliefs. And it's not like I think about that stuff a lot, but it came into my spirit like, hey, American Indians have a lot of spiritual connections to the universe and to what they believe and how they treat animals, and something like just was brought to my consciousness about this. And obviously as generations come through, all of those beliefs and things like that get put by the wayside, I'll say, as younger people come to be as like all younger generations, they tish bosh all that stuff, and which is really sad. And so we get home, and again, something in my spirit says, research what American Indians feel about dogs. And even so, I go there, and I don't know how it came to be. Like, if we were told it was, because he came from Leech Lake is what this area is called. And I'm like, wow, what tribe is up at Leech Lake? And it's the Ojibwe. It's the band of Ojibwe Indians that are in this Leech Lake area. And so I started Googling what the band of Ojibwe or Ojibwe Indians feel about animals and dogs. I gotta watch my time here. And I pull this up, and as I'm looking at it, I start reading it, and I just start sobbing. Because they say that they believe that dogs are meant to be a companion, and they have a very high spiritual regard for dogs. And the thing that came through was that they feel that dogs help carry spirits through the afterlife. And I just lost it. Because this is where it becomes so supernatural. That is this dog meant to be with us to carry Riz's spirit through the afterlife? Is it even Riz coming back to life through this dog, and his spirit coming back through this dog? And I don't know if I mentioned it in my last video, but as we were deciding to put down Riz, and maybe we had already done it, I can't remember the timing on that, but I got this message that came through to me, actually through YouTube, that was just this saying that said, even the devil thought he won until 3 days later. And all of this has taken place during Easter and the resurrection. And that's another thing that was so supernatural with this whole thing, is that all of this is taking place during Easter and the resurrection of Jesus. And when I read that, I was like, does that mean that his spirit is going to come back to life in some way? Does that mean we are not done seeing Riz yet? I just about lost it. And then when I saw what these American Indians feel about dogs and how they carry spirits through the afterlife and help them transition, or, I just about lost it. Like, I was sobbing so much that I was like, we aren't done with Riz. He's not done. He's gone away for a little while, and we're gonna see that he's gonna be back. So I have to leave the video there, but there is a lot more to follow, because it has just been a whirlwind seeing how this dog behaves, his mannerisms. It is just amazing. So until next time, there will be a follow-up to Riz and our new adoption of Buster. And I have a picture of him at the end of this video. Take care. Bye-bye.